me, I would say that having to speak to an employee to get something out of a shelf is a huge deterrent for me wanting to shop at that store. I honestly, the reason why, I don't want to talk to a lot of people. I just want to go to the store and I want to get something. And it's really annoying. It wastes my time. It's inconvenient. I don't want to interact with anybody. That's it. So American? Really? I mean, I don't know. I feel like... and I think also there's like the component of it where there's like an implicit expectation that you're a thief. And so I think that people don't like... Maybe I'm the only person that feels this way. I think people don't like that you're like pre-categorized as a person who would have been a thief, basically.
If a man took testosterone therapy for 30 days, here is exactly how his body will transform. In the first 30 days, some men will start to notice changes, such as improved mood.
So, nearly half of New York City's drugstores have disappeared over the last decade as retail theft continues running rampant.
But what nobody's talking about is all of these pharmacy closures. They're happening 1 year after our leaders promised to get tough on shoplifting, a promise many businesses are still waiting for them to keep.
And sadly, if you walk through any pharmacy in town, you'll be greeted with all the signs that the high crime environment afflicting our stores is here to stay. With location.
Yeah, we have this at Walmart. Like you have, I mean, now they got underwear behind these things. Like, I told that story about underwear 2 or 3 times. I'm not going to tell it again, but like, I mean, it's hair coloring and underwear. That's it.
Throughout New York locking up their products because here we won't lock up our criminals.
Because stealing here's been decriminalized, making New York a breeding ground for professional criminals who take things that aren't theirs and then sell them on the internet or on the side of the street somewhere.
Perpetually funding illegal retail arbitrage businesses that will exist as long as shoplifting here remains a non.
It's also a good point is that when somebody steals something and then they resell it, that also takes away, like, effectively 2 sales from the company. Because, like, if you buy it from somebody who stole it, well, not only did the person take the inventory away from you, you also didn't secure another sale as well. It's really bad.
Available misdemeanor, provided it's peaceful shoplifting that doesn't escalate to a physical altercation with another person. As for some reason, our criminal sympathizer leaders don't think destroying security barriers or cutting security tags counts as violent behavior.
And that brings us to the real reason why New York is losing so many pharmacies, leaving many neighborhoods without...
I don't know how you could say that's not violent behavior. Anytime that you destroy or alter property in a way that's malicious, it's obviously violence. Like, I would say that, like, I mean, don't you define violence by, like, it's basically malicious physical action, right? Yeah. Behavior involving physical force intended to hurt, damage, or kill someone or something. Yeah, okay. So, yeah. Not an object? No, it's a thing. Yeah, I mean, that's what the dictionary says, right? And so, I don't know what else to say.
A viable alternative to get things like prescription medication or everyday basic items.
Many of these businesses are already struggling for a variety of reasons, and as retail theft continues to creep up, it erodes whatever was left in the store's margins, leaving them no choice but to shut down. Ooh. Something Walgreens alone did 22 times last year, leaving it with just 189 locations left in New York.
I love how the
as you're
only
about
thing
to
that's
see,
left
retail
is
theft
water.
isn't just a problem.
Like, if you go back and you look at it, like, it's just water. People stole all the sodas. Maybe people don't like cranberry juice that much. Yeah, Walgreens is on lockdown, boys.
For pharmacies that end up closing, it also raises the cost of living for every New Yorker, even those who already buy everything online from places like Amazon.
Revealing that as criminals loot and destroy these businesses, they're actually destroying New York City itself.
People try to make the distinction between how violence is defined in the eyes of the law and not the eyes of the dictionary. That may be different. They are interpreting what that means themselves. They are the ones that are inventing what the law says. You can't make an argument to authority when you're the one that's the authority.
So New York City has obviously got a lot of former retail storefronts that have been shut down. But if you want to see what out-of-control retail theft is really doing to the city, take a look at the stores that are still open. Like this one, where pretty much everything is locked up behind plexiglass, except for low-demand products nobody's buying right now in New York, like sunscreen. Look at this. Even the picture of the product that is here. So
Damn, we are this far? So they don't even have it locked up. They have a printing. Oh my God. I've never seen something this fucking ratchet before. This is amazing. Not only is it locked up, but it's only a picture of it that's locked up. Wow. Yeah, it's an NFT, yeah.
Don't steal the actual product. Even it's locked up, so you don't steal the picture. But on top of all this in-store security, you'll also see something else, a blinking camera array on the top of this CVS with flashing lights meant to scare criminals into thinking the police could be inside, or at least watching. But sadly, none of this security is having the intended effect because our stores are still shutting down.
It's terrible what's going on.
Rafael and Sean Martez have been getting their prescriptions filled at this Walgreens for at least a year. They believe shoplifting played a role in the store's closure.
I have seen it happen right in front of my face. This man just came in, grabbed a whole bunch of makeup stuff that was on the side, and just ran out. Security.
So, as you can tell from all this security things, that these places are getting robbed constantly, sometimes right in front of the customers. And look at all the cracks around this product.
I mean, you're not going to try to, like,
it's
I mean,
almost as if somebody...
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to try to fucking go and fight somebody over this. Like, I mean, if I was at a store and I saw somebody stealing something, if I could, I would maybe report them, but I sure as hell wouldn't try to stop them. I sure as hell would not. Like, absolutely, I don't want to deal with that. That's not my problem. I don't work there. Fuck that. Shoot them? Nah, you can't shoot people like that. I mean, maybe the store can, but yeah, that's it.
But he tried to tamper with this and break through it to get at the products underneath. And before we get into the unstoppable proportions this crime wave has now reached, look at who the real victims are from all this stealing. Now, of course, the store itself is a victim of crime, obviously, but the people who live near a place like this, they're the ones that suffer the most, because after a store like this is gone, where do they go to get the things they need and have relied on buying from it on a weekly basis?
Apparently not
what
there.
About the people that work at a place
yeah.
like this? Once it's gone, where are they going to work?
This is one of the big issues that I think a lot of people have. It's, yeah, he's looking, where the fuck is, yeah, not there. And,
The key to fast repairs is having tools organized and close at hand. U.S. General's top-rated cards provide advanced features at an incredible value. Our best-selling cards come in 4 sizes and an extensive selection of colors. Only at Harbor Freight.
More boxes, more options. Grainger has over 1,700 box types in stock and ready to help you pack, store, and ship everything. And you can count on Grainger to deliver your boxes fast. Count on Grainger for boxes. Call or click Grainger.com/boxes today.
I think that there's another big issue is that a lot of people, they try to play this off as it's like kind of, oh, well, it's because people that are minorities get, you know, like get targeted by this more often. I think in poor areas, like, you're going to have more theft. I think that just makes sense. And if there's more minorities there, then yeah, that would be true. But when you have more theft and you don't have it, like, controlled, it hurts all of those people. Like, those are, like, the entire minority group that those thieves are a part of are all negatively affected by it. And it's kind of like what I was saying before about how it's like performative empathy, where it's like, oh, well, we're trying to help, you know, these minorities, and we don't want to have them be unfairly targeted by police. But what I don't think that they realize is that by not giving these people in these communities the ability to, like, control their own, like, their own stores, they have the stores leave, people lose jobs, and it just gets worse for everybody. Is it unfair? I think that there's definitely cases where police officers are racist and interactions happen with a person that is non-white or a white person. It could be a racist black officer towards a white person too. But like, I think I'm sure it happens, but it's not like you can't base everything off of that. These people care about their own community. They care about the effects. Well, what a lot of it is, I think, is that these people don't care about. Many of the people that are the biggest proponents of allowing people to steal things out of stores don't live in places where people are stealing things out of stores, unless they're the ones that are doing the stealing. So in a lot of cases, what happens is that it's these, you know, in general, like ivory tower, upper middle class, gated community people that are trying to dictate to these lower working class people that no, it's actually good that you can steal things out of stores without realizing the second order effects of what that stealing causes. And that's what I was saying before about like the selfish altruism or like performative empathy, and about how doing it in order to make yourself feel good or sound good ends up hurting other people.
Now, yes, every time a store like this shuts down over crime, the brand always says that they'll do everything they can to redeploy their workforce to other locations.
Of course they will.
But that just hurts everybody, because now the people who work at those other locations are going to have less hours because there's now a surplus of workers.
Yeah.
If the workers that were at a store that closed can even...
And it's also like if you're a worker there, so like if you assume that, like let's just use a little bit of logic here, right? I mean, for like, who's ever done logistics for a company or for an organization or for anything before? Let's say you have 6 workers. Each worker is allocated to be active 80% of the time or 90% of the time. If you are working at capacity, because it's logical that you would not overhire, you would probably want to have the closest percentage of employees to work as possible, right? That's why, for example, Taco Bell doesn't hire as many people to be working at 3 a.m. versus 3 p.m., just as a random example. And so now what this does too is it makes it to where the employees are now getting stretched even thinner, because they've already got 2 jobs that they have to do, right? They have to maybe maintain a store area, and they have to also check people out. Like this happens at Walmart. How many of you guys have been at Walmart and there's one person working the electronics section, and you have to wait for this person to talk to 2 other people to ring somebody up, and then they have to go and unlock the thing out of the jewel case, right? All the time. Yeah, exactly. And so, like, what does that cause? That means that that worker doesn't have as much time to rest. It's more strenuous on them, and it's more difficult for the workers in general. Yeah, dude's busy as hell. Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't even have like a moment or 2 to rest, because you guys know, like, I don't know. I mean, I've only had like really 2 jobs my whole life that are like like streaming, but most jobs, like, you're not working 8 hours straight. You're working for like maybe 10 minutes, and then you stop and you like recalibrate, and then you do something else for 10 minutes, and then you do something else, right? There's going to be like intermissionary periods. The fact is that now, not really. I think so. I mean, yeah, of course, right? It's like, for example, like you finish a task, and then you have to submit your task, and then you have to go get the next task, logically, right? And so all the time that happens, you're going to have transit time with anything. It's travel time, effectively. And no cool on this one? No, I think so. Not anymore. They min-maxed it. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that I'm sure that there's some jobs this isn't the case for. But I think in a lot of cases, it's very regular to have small intermissionary periods while you're working of maybe a couple of minutes until you do the next task. And what I'm saying is that situations and systems like this remove those intermissionary periods, or they make them smaller, and that way people don't have as much time. Social services? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's gonna be downtime.
Get to whatever location they've been redeployed to, but even if the workers can get to the new...
True as fuck. Yeah, of course, right? I mean, yeah. And also, like, logically, you would have to have downtime, because almost no work is completely synchronously the exact same performance the entire time. So you're going to have ups and downs, right? And so what I'm saying is that these downs, there's a lot less of them if you have to do all these other activities.
location, so can the criminals. In fact, they ride around on the subway here for free because we don't care about fare evasion either. And that's the real problem here, because if customers need a new store to shop at and workers need a new store to work at, criminals, they're going to need a new store to steal from, and everybody's going to end up at whatever store is still hanging on. And
that's
hanging
right.
on is definitely the best way to describe it after one Upper East Side pharmacy closed.
People do not like lawn chairs, apparently. Yeah, there you go.
Carving location said that they were getting robbed once an hour. And as you're about to see, closing stores is not going to put a stop to New York City's theft problems at all. In fact, it's only going to make it worse.
Another guy, while he was chasing him, stole candy.
It's like nothing is being done.
So do you feel like it's getting bolder?
Yeah, it definitely is getting bolder.
Walgreens said only economic headwinds are making it too difficult to cover.
So the reason it seems like theft is getting more out of control and thieves are getting bolder and more brazen is because they have to. You've got the same number of criminals, but now you've got fewer stores to steal from. Like this CVS right here, its theft problems definitely got worse after the Walgreens, which was across the street, shut down when that happened.
This is like what happens when I remember people tell me this. It's like when I go offline, the roaches scatter. And like people will be like, yeah, so like I started getting a lot of sexist. Why do they keep telling me stop talking? Why is this dishwasher talking? Why are they saying this? Oh, Asman went offline. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
And any crime that was taking place split between the two stores now all has to happen at just one store. And you can tell from the lack of rust and dings in the paint on these cabinets that many of them are a recent installation here. And not only are many of these aisles completely walled off on both sides, you've also got that blinking security camera. The store's literally doing everything it can to deter crime. And that's because any surviving store is under more pressure now than it's ever been. And there's no way out from any of this.
Well, it's like if there's 100 thieves in 100 stores, people are probably going to steal from one store, right? Not everybody's going to steal everything from the same store because then you're going to run out of stuff. Like if you were stealing and everybody was stealing out of the same McDonald's or the same Walgreens, and you keep showing up with your bag and then all the expensive stuff is gone, you're going to say, fuck this, I want to go to the other Walgreens. Right? Let's be honest, right? I mean, yeah, you're going to go to the other Walgreens, like, fuck that. And so, but if there's only 10 Walgreens, you got to deal with 10 thieves in each one. The DoorDash table gets raided a lot. Bro, if you are down bad so much that you have to be raiding the DoorDash table, like, how do you get this? I work in loss prevention, and the high shrink loss stores will intentionally overstock to keep a product available for customers. They surplus those stores not only to keep them in stock, but also to pad numbers. Good, well, I need to start stealing pepper beef jerky then. Because I go to the store and they have every kind except for the kind I want. And I'm tired of it, man. It's pissing me off.
Unless, of course, laws were to be passed that made crime again. But since that's not happening, every single thing you see here are the last moves of a store that probably
people
won't be here for.
You gotta remember Listerine. Well, we played that game, right? The mouthwashing game.
My name is Jeff Moore, and today we're going to be doing a test of a Fox Shoreline system. Fox Shoreline generally has a regenerative type blower. If you were to purchase a system from us, we normally supply the blower. The piece that we manufacture is a Venturi, that's this piece here. That's the real heart of the system. It's manufactured here in Wind Gap, Pennsylvania. And this system, we're testing the chopper today. Now, this is not a typical hookup. Generally, this chopper normally goes on the discharge side of the Venturi, which is where this discharge duct is. So normally this chopper will go in this section. However, the material we're chopping today is very stiff. So for very stiff materials, sometimes the very stiff materials have a hard time making it through the Venturi with the airflow. So we chop the stiff material first, and then the pieces flow easily through the Venturi into a collection point. Right here we just have a simple mesh bag that the pieces will go.
It's bad. It's real bad.
Forever. But you know, the real problem is all of this product security. It doesn't just deter thieves, it also deters customers.
These plexiglass screens and all these other inconveniences that are added to customers who are simply there to make a purchase creates additional friction, and friction is the death of retail.
Walgreens.
He's completely fucking right. Absolutely. Perfectly stated.
Said in a statement.
Friction is the death of retail. He's 100% right. And if it takes longer to buy things in a physical store, less people are going to put up with that. But it's not just the inconvenience factor that's a big deal here. All this security costs money. It's not free, because every time somebody wants to buy something, they need a human to help them get it. And that costs money. And that money.
Well, see, this is... A lot of people don't understand, like, allocation of time and, like, time management skills and optimization of those skills. So every employee's output is going to be min-max to the highest percentage that the company can realistically put it at, right? That's what you guys are saying, obviously. So this now is, like, let's say an employee is operating at 95% efficiency. If this increases the amount of work they have to do by 10%, now they're over efficiency, and now a new employee has to be hired, or the quality of service goes down. So it actually makes everything cost more money. And, like, this is one thing that, like, so... All right. This is a WoW analogy. One thing that I would fucking hate about gold guides, I would hate this so much. There would be two things I hated. Number one, gold guides that were made with no context of supply and demand. Number one. Number two, or price and demand, wherever you want to look at it, depending on the product, right, or the item. Another thing is that gold guides that do not take into account travel time, transit time, reset time, loading time, ready time, cooldown time, and everything else. All of these things you need to itemize and figure out how much each of these individual little things take, and then multiply it over 8 hours, and you will see that, let's say, if every employee, think about it like this. If you have, what would be the math for this? You don't have 16 employees, but let's say you had 16 employees, and every single employee worked 8 hours a day, and 30 minutes of that day need to be dedicated in order to like unlock things. Now you need to hire an entire new employee in order to maintain the same level of efficiency. Crazy.
It can only come from one place. Just look at the price of this deodorant. It's absolutely expensive, almost $20, when a 3-pack of the exact same stuff costs $23 on Amazon right now. That's crazy. And if prices are going up and convenience is going down, what reason is there to even shop in a physical store anymore? You'd literally
that's actually, he brings up a really good point, and I think that's what that Indian guy was saying on the video, is that basically, these stores are already losing a lot of market share to things that are more convenient, like Amazon Prime. And so now, when you add this extra barrier to entry, it makes it even easier for people to transition over to somewhere else.
Finan-Chill. That feeling you get when you're on budget and on Cloud9. Let Finan-Chill become your everyday state of mind. Tap to start your journey to a more chill financial reality. These are Ed Words of Wisdom by Edward Jones.
World, the time has come to
push the button.
World, the time has come to
push the button.
That's it. Amazon has this for $3. Well, not only do they have it for $3, they also have it with Amazon comes to my house. Yeah, it's delivered directly to your door. You don't have to pay shipping because you have Amazon Prime. And if there's a problem, usually you can return it. It's annoying, kind of, but yeah. They send it to your fat ass? Yeah.
Have to be
One day,
desperate
too,
for some
somehow?
overpriced
Yeah, exactly.
item and need it immediately for some sudden purpose to even go into one of these places. But if things are 3 times the price of what you can get them for on the internet, people are going to change their habits, and most people
And that's
are.
also another big issue, is that the prices on the internet are not amortized, or like they're not factored into the entire price of like the value, right? Because like if you're selling things on the internet, you're not factoring in shrink in the same way. Shrink is stealing in the same way that you would be than if you have a retail store inside of New York City. It's just like it's making it to where these stores basically can't fucking exist other than being loot boxes. Yeah.
They're willing to wait a couple of days to get their dryer sheets. Just order your dryer sheets ahead of time. That way you don't have to run out and then come into a store and pay more than you'd pay on the internet.
Exactly.
However, the internet is a double-edged sword because it's both the cure for in-store theft and the cause of in-store theft in many cases. Because although you can't steal these cleaning products from Amazon as it's online, someone else could steal them from a place like this and then resell them back to you. And that is the whole reason stores like this, no matter how well guarded they are, may not have a whole lot of time left, at least in this city.
I think that's true. I think that right now we're in like a transitionary period, and Amazon already has stores that function this way. I think the future of retail stores are going to be places where you can go inside. Like, I think that there's going to be a trend, like right now, like, you know how like McDonald's is moving away from a lot of customer service and a lot of the McDonald's experience to become a much more corporate min-maxed system, right? Like, I feel like anybody can see that. So I think that's going to keep going, and that's going to keep going for maybe like 10 more years, right? Maybe 15 more years. But what I think is going to happen after that is that there's going to start to begin and it's already happening, but it will be it'll be at like a crisis point, right? Or like a crossover point of like where at that point you're going to have more people. I was thinking about 3 different things at the same time. I totally forgot what I was going to say. Let me scroll up and read what chat was saying as responding to what I was saying. Automated, right? And so anyway, these stores, there's going to be a growing demand for people. I disconnected. And there's going to be a growing demand for people to have in-store customer service. And that's why, like, for example, and this is like a really, really weird abstract example, but hopefully you guys can appreciate it. Do you know this scene in John Wick where he goes in to buy the suit and he's talking directly to the guy, and then he's talking directly to the suit maker, and then he's talking directly to the guy that makes the guns? People like that type of in-person personal service, right? And it's seen as, oh, wow, this guy's a fucking G. So, like, the idea is that this is a high-value, high-status type of service. And regardless of whether it's selling you a machine gun or selling you, a machine toy gun, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. And so the point is that I think that after about 15 years or so, we're going to see a resurgence of retail stores that have actual customer experience people there that are designed to kind of help you with your purchase. And you see a little bit of that now with like luxury stores. Like if you ever go inside of, how many of you guys have ever been inside of like one of these like stupid overpriced stores like Armani or whatever? They'll immediately have somebody on you. Maybe the reason why is because they saw me and they were like, oh, yeah, watch him. Make sure he doesn't do anything. He's not going to, don't let him shit on the, if that's the guy from last week, don't let him shit on the floor again. Yeah, so they have no idea, right? And anyway, so you're going to see a growing resurgence in demand for like the customer experience, I think in 10 to 15 years, to an extent that it will be met by a retail store that ends up making profit because of it. But what I think we're going to transition to a lot more of right now is that we're in like this weird middle ground where we have we have a tremendous amount of technology, but we don't have the technology calibrated in a way that's efficient. And so you're seeing Amazon, and there's also certain places in the EU that do this as well, that automatically charge you based off of the objects that you walk out of the store with, and you walk into the store with an amount of money, right? Like on a card. That was fake. Well, if it was fake, it's going to be real. Like, do you really think that that's not going to happen? Because, like, I can guarantee you it's going to happen. That's the smartest and most efficient way of doing it, and I guarantee you that there are billions of dollars being invested right now at this very moment into making that a reality. It does, but it's rare. Exactly. But eventually it won't be. And so anyway, Pilot Store, yeah. It was just some people in India charging whenever you're there. Yeah, well, either way, that's what I think is going to happen. And that's going to be the future of retail stores.
The key to fast and accurate repairs is having tools organized and close at hand. U.S. General carts provide mobility and advanced features at an incredible value. Our best-selling carts come in 4 sizes and an extensive selection of colors. With durability and capacities up to 1,200 pounds, these top-rated carts are purpose-built for the professional shop and home garage. U.S. General. Serious tool storage. Serious value. Only at Harbor Freight.
Healthcare.gov has plans for health because you have plans for life. All plans.
At least in
so
like
this right here behind
in like
me is
the short term.
probably the most
No way, you guys don't think so?
Walgreens
Okay.
in the entire city. Not only does it have security cameras, but we're in a brand new train station, which is being patrolled by National Guard troops. And exits are limited. You can't just run out of this place right through this massive front door and then be on the street. No, you're still in.
It's crazy how much more civilized things are when there's any authority there. Like, you see the National Guard posted up. Maybe you're not going to steal those Cheetos. You leave them on the rack. Nope. Not today.
A facility which is
and this is another component too, is that a lot of people think that criminals are like these like stupid animals that can't figure out what's going on and they just can't control themselves. Most criminals make conscious decisions to minimize risk. And that's the reason why, and I bet a lot of places, like, people probably be less likely to break into a house if the person owning in the house can't own a gun.
But even though you'll see a few more free-range products on the shelves of this particular store compared to the CVS we were just in, there is still a lot of progressive plexiglass in here.
These
that's
are also
for sure.
professionals?
Because sadly, even a place like this is not immune to theft.
As long as there are resale markets that are not held accountable for the sale of stolen goods, then this kind of conduct is only going to get worse.
Here's how it works. A criminal network hires an individual or crew called boosters. After robbing a retailer, they turn over the stolen goods to someone waiting nearby called a fence. The fence then takes the haul to a home or warehouse where a cleaner removes anti-theft devices or marks.
So there's a couple angles to this online retail theft component. The first angle is that it makes it very easy for anybody to say that they have a product and to list it for sale and to offload it. And the second problem is that these companies like Amazon benefit whenever something is sold on their site. They take a cut. And some people say that's why they aren't doing more to get rid of illegal products from their sites. However, even though Amazon and eBay benefit from the sale,
I think the woman is totally misguided, and her fixation on Amazon not blocking these people. It's impossible to block people that are doing this. These are not like, I mean, if you want to talk about like them being Walgreens exclusive items, this is just them trying to leverage this issue to lower the credit of Amazon because they view Amazon as a competitor. They're not actually looking at solving this problem. They're just looking at a way to badmouth their competitor.
Of anything, no matter where it's from, it's not the fault of these sites that New York has a massive retail theft problem. A problem which is so bad we've even got to lock up our ice cream with a massive padlock. Look at the size of this thing. Now, of course,
They got the drumsticks on the lock. Oh my God.
Can't sell ice cream online, but there's another place you can sell it in New York City, which is why this stuff too is locked up.
This is
revealing that
ridiculous.
it is not the fault of the internet alone that New York has a $4.4 billion shoplifting economy. But before we get into the other ways stolen products are offloaded in this city that is unique to it, it's important to understand that even if Amazon stamped out every illegal listing on their entire site, this stuff, it would still get taken and it would still end up somewhere else because people who steal want money. And even though Amazon and eBay probably should be doing more to keep the sale of illicit goods from taking place on their platforms, the real problem is places like New York aren't doing enough to stop criminals.
It's impossible for them to stop doing that. I mean, obviously, yeah, I mean, it's like what he's saying is common sense, but these are all methods of reduction and nothing's going to make it stop happening
from taking things in the first place. Here's an example of a serial shoplifter with over 100 arrests. How is this even allowed to happen? How is somebody allowed to commit 100 crimes and still be walking around on the streets? And how are we supposed to expect this person to learn something the 101st time they get arrested that they didn't learn the other 100 times? We're not, and criminals like this are the real reason New York has an out-of-control crime problem. Now, that doesn't mean Amazon is innocent. After all, the more products that are locked up in stores, the more people who will just go online to buy from them. But the reality here is that in New York, you've got a lot of places to offload something that you took and want to resell, and the city's not doing anything about it.
Millions of dollars in stolen goods seized in Queens and put on display for the cameras. The thieves had an eye for cosmetics, beauty products, designer clothing.
The defendants utilized social media, Instagram, and other online resources.
What a surprise. I mean, of course you're going to do that. I mean, that's the smart stuff to steal. Yeah, they're going to steal that because they make the most money off of it. Yeah, it's simple. Makeup is expensive. Yeah, makeup is really expensive for sure. I'm from Brazil, and up until a few years ago, we always dreamed about the U.S. and always complimented U.S. citizens were so right about being exposed, self-checkout. Things have changed too fast. The problem is that it's become a politically charged issue that prosecuting people for stealing is like, it's like a political thing. I think that there's like a lot of issues that have become politicized that I don't think that they should be politicized. Like, for example, like police brutality, police violence, body cams, stuff like this, like shoplifting, homelessness, etc. Like these are issues that are really not political issues, but they've been like basically polarized to where like people that are on like one side of an issue, like also usually are part of like an entire group of people.
To advertise for the stolen goods for sale, both here and for abroad.
So here we've got a multi-million-dollar crime ring, which was busted towards the end of last year. And they didn't just sell on Amazon. They sold on pretty much every website, Facebook, Instagram, you name it. And they also sold things physically here in New York and physically in other countries. Not to mention, you've also got people selling things on blankets on the sides of the road throughout New York. Police see this stuff happening. They walk right by. Nothing gets done about it. It's not even legal to do that without a license. And the sad reality is that New York is just such a big place with so many people living in it that anybody who's got that entrepreneurial spirit and zero morals and who also might not.
People do it. The reason why they do that is just simply because it makes money. And also, like, if you've been laying this stuff out and the police don't do anything to you for it, and you make money, then you're going to keep doing it. I mean, fucking obviously that's going to happen. Like, if you don't enforce a law, it doesn't exist. It's not like laws are not like the laws of physics, like gravity or like something like that. It doesn't like the speed of light. This isn't, they're not real. Like, we just made up the rule that you can't steal things. Like, there's no like, you know, law of physics that's preventing you from stealing the cold flu pack from Walgreens. So if you don't enforce the law, it doesn't exist.
It's not having access to 1 million industrial-grade products that's so amazing. It's the feeling of knowing you'll find the one you need. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
not have the computer skills necessary to take pictures of stuff on their phone and then list it for sale on a website, they can make money in a number of ways. The first thing they can do would be to take the products they steal to somebody else who wants to sell them online. They could also unload them from a suitcase and sell them themselves if they want to. Or in the case of food, they could take this food to a nearby deli or bodega. That's why the ice cream is locked up. It gets stolen and then gets transported to another store where it then gets resold. This happens with clothes as well. There was a quote-unquote cosmetics store that was selling stolen goods from stores like Macy's, and it existed around the corner from Macy's in a physical location where customers...
Well, that makes sense, right? Because like you like that because if you want, that's smart. That's smart, yes, because if you put it right next to it, you're going to see people that see the other two. They're like, all right, well, fuck, let's just go over there. Seems profitable, yes. Bro, yeah, genius economy there. Holy shit, steal it back? I guess so.
Could walk in, and they had stolen items from pretty much every store. Macy's, Nordstrom's, all of it in their stores, some of it with the same tags that it had on it in the store that it was taken out of. And when you hear about stuff like that, and then you go to a store like this and you see things like ice cream behind bars, and when you see the vans of products parked in middle-class neighborhoods that are like miniature shopping malls that can drive away when the police show up, the full reality of New York's predicament when it comes to theft starts to emerge. It's so big, no store can stop it. And we're at a point now where anything that can be stolen will be stolen and taken somewhere else for profit. And obviously none of this security is a deterrent whatsoever, because you can have as many police and as many National Guard troops as you want. A store like this in a well-guarded area, it's still gonna have to lock things up because criminals just don't care. They know that if they wait long enough inside the store, an opportunity will arise for them to take something that's not theirs and then run off. It's terrible. And right now we've got criminals with hundreds of arrests just wandering our streets looking for new opportunities to do the thing that they've done hundreds of times already. They're the reason.
This is the other thing, is like, most of the people that are probably stealing shit it's probably the same group of people. It's like, I wouldn't be surprised if the amount of people that are actually stealing, it's like 1,000 people that are probably doing this. And if you just take out like the top 1,000 or 2,000 highest offenders, you will probably cut this down by like 80 or 90%. Yeah, the 80-20 rule. Yeah, exactly. Because like you think about 100, like a lot of people have stolen something from a store once or twice. But 300 combined times between a handful of people, 100 times per person, that's crazy. You cut off the high offenders, and then also there's another effect that has, is that the people that would be the high offenders see that, and they say, oh, all right, never mind. 300 rookie. Yeah, this is a weird American problem. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. My brother steals every day. Yeah, exactly, right? And so that's my point, is that the majority of this is probably happening from the same people that are doing it. If you just locked up the top, I'd say like 1,000 worst offenders, this problem would go down massively.
And a brand new Walgreens and a brand new train station still has to lock everything up, even though it's surrounded by people in full military dress. And is Amazon partly responsible for this? Absolutely. They gain new customers every single day. Somebody walks into a place like this and has to wait longer than they want to buy something that they know is already overpriced. But the reality here is that without new laws that criminalize crime once again in this city, more of our stores are going to shut down. More pharmacies this year will close, just like they did last year, and there will be even less places for people to buy basic things. And the quality of life for New Yorkers is going to go down, while the costs to live here go up as the remaining stores do even more to crack down on crime because our laws won't. What do you think about that? Should people who steal go to jail, or should we do something else? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.
Yeah, obviously they should go to jail. I mean, it's not even a question. But I think also what they probably should do, like if I was the police, this is what I would do. I would work with I would find the most prolific people that are doing it, and I would probably give them a deal to commute part of their sentence if they can help work on methods of reduction to stop it from happening. Because a lot of them will instantly turn. Like, because these people, they're not like, a lot of these thieves, they're not like these evil people, right? They're not like these demons or something like that. They're just taking advantage of a situation that's beneficial to them. That's all. They're taking advantage of a situation. Yes, some are. Oh, you don't work with them. But you look at the people that are reasonable. You figure out, okay, how are you doing it? How is it working? How can you help us fix this problem? Right? I feel like that's the smart thing to do. And imagine you steal something, you can only be judged when you're caught red-handed. What the fuck is this? Why doesn't Walgreens make Walgreens card that gives 90% cost reduction and bump the prices so stealing is over $5,000 and they can charge for larger crimes? Because then that creates another piece of friction in retail where like now you have to have a card and it's a huge issue.
Okay.
And so that's the main reason why it didn't happen. Yeah, New York is fixing a situation with this. Again, where stop and frisk is jailing folks is going to come back. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. No, this is not like hacking. Oh, they need to get their knowledge. Fuck them. I don't know. I think it's... like, a lot of the people that create systems that do stuff like this, they're not stupid. It's not like you can't figure it out at all. But it's better to at least get the leg up and at least start where they're at whenever you're figuring out how to make it stop happening. Yeah, I mean, there it is, some of them. Yeah, exactly. And I would try to find some of them and figure out, like, okay, why is this happening? And so, yeah, anyway, make stupid choices, but all of them are smart. So why does law exist? I don't know. And inflation counter. But yeah, this is I think it's a huge problem. And I feel like the more that it happens, what's going to end up happening is that you're going to see more stores that have, like, whenever I don't know, this is in like 2000, and like if I go back to like 2010, for example, and I think back to 2010, almost nothing was locked up. Like the only thing at Walmart that was locked up was pretty much video games and like expensive electronics like phones. And now if I go to Walmart, I would say 20% of the store is locked up. Yes. Oh, spray paint was locked up because people would get high with spray paint. Good point. Yeah, you're right about that. But yeah, this is it's how government works. Theft is okay in a high crime areas. People elect high cross criminals. Well, I don't know about that. But games were only done because they were in the box too. Now they're not. Yeah, exactly. Scan receipt on exit? No, because the people don't really do good scans. That's the issue, is that they say they do. And then they're like, oh yeah, let's look at what the scan is. And it's like just basically nothing. It's like, oh yeah, did you buy? Yeah, all right, good. Like people have walked out with shit all the time. I remember bullets not being locked up in Walmart. Yeah, and now Benadryl is. Yeah, it's a crazy world. I guess New York is probably the worst example of it, or one of the worst examples. But I think it is going to keep getting worse. I feel like fast food is crazy, crazy, crazy expensive now. Why they're panicking over higher prices? They should be. It's been a while. They need to be panicking. They better be fucking panicking. It's so expensive now. I don't even want to go anymore.
There's been a lot of talk online and in the news about how much fast food prices have gone up over the recent years.
Ridiculous.
Once home to the dollar menu, prices at the Golden Arches leaving a bad taste in the mouth of consumers who just want value.
Some restaurants are continuing with price hikes, while others are getting desperate with attempts to offer more deals in hopes of increasing traffic.
Restaurants don't cut prices for fun. Did consumers essentially force your hand by being fed up?
Customers are telling us that they're really stretched.
Now, we all know inflation has been rampant since the beginning of 2020 when the pandemic happened.
This is nuts.
Grocery prices, in some cases, are falling. Fast food prices are rising, and these CEOs, they know it. They're hearing these complaints.
But what's really going on here? I mean, are fast food companies trying to pull a fast one on us, price gouging under the cover of inflation?
Fast food places in general, y'all better watch your goddamn ass.
Is this just plain old corporate greed like many have claimed?
He's right.
Who told y'all was that good to be charging that much for y'all food?
Or is there
it's not that good.
More to this story?
Fast food used to mean inexpensive.
Going viral,
don't waste
the Big
your
Mac
money.
meal priced at $18 at a Connecticut rest stop.
Well, in this video, I'm going to try to get to the bottom of it.
Oh my
Wikipedia
God.
defines price gouging as a pejorative term
Fast
used
food
to refer
blows?
to the
Yeah.
practice of increasing the prices
Seems
of
that
goods,
way.
services, or commodities to a level much higher than is considered reasonable or fair by some. This commonly applies to the price increases of basic necessities after natural disasters. Usually this event occurs after a demand or supply shock, like, say, a global
COVID.
pandemic.
Yeah.
Harvard Business School says there's no rule for what qualifies as price gouging, but it's not an uncommon occurrence. For example, EpiPen costs and Uber price surges are both examples of price increases that have been considered unfair. But what's the difference between...
I think this is completely a total... Like, you cannot compare using a Uber app to insulin or, like, medical supplies. These are two totally different things.
Between price gouging and inflation. While price gouging is often the result of a business
Life-saving
decision,
device,
inflation is a general increase in the prices of goods and services over time and is directly impacted by the market. And while 40 states across the country have laws in place to ban price gouging...
See, they need to make a law that says that McDonald's can't charge more than $3 for a hamburger. That's the problem. Like, it's ridiculous. And if you buy, like, if you buy a fast food meal, it can't be more than, like, $15.
There's
Zach, come on,
currently
no,
no federal
really?
price gouging prohibition.
Come on.
And this makes it a difficult thing to enforce because so many supply chains are nationwide. And as a result, states face heightened challenges when trying to protect consumers from price gouging. So in my opinion, price gouging is a rather nebulous concept. It often lacks clear-cut depictions, and it's not only a practical question, but also a moral one. However, with this fast food dilemma...
it's not immoral for McDonald's to charge a lot of money for a McDouble. It's just annoying. It's annoying and it makes me mad. That's all.
It's not just about high prices here. It's also about prices that seem disconnected from costs and the actual products themselves. So whether specific fast food companies have engaged in price gouging is up for debate. What certainly isn't is how much prices have increased over the years. And the real question then becomes, is it justified? Finance Buzz released a staggering report on fast food prices over the last decade, and it showed some very interesting stats, claiming McDonald's is king when it comes to price hikes.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Over the years, citing a 100% increase to their prices from 2014.
I went to Popeyes the other day, and it was $21 for me. I got a 4-piece tenders meal, a large drink with large mashed potatoes and gravy and Cajun fries. $21.
2024. Now, to understand how we got here, let's just rewind for a second. Fast food in its early days was built on two core promises: speed and affordability. Now, with its initial success, it really started to become a symbol of American culture.
Yeah, of course.
What the food may have lacked in quality, it ultimately made up with cheaper prices and the convenience of getting it quick.
The 6-piece, this year, this video is probably taken in like 2017. Like, I'm joking, but like, this is probably taken realistically 2005. Like, I feel like this is about 2005 prices, maybe 2000. Like, yeah, it's somewhere around there. 90s? Nah, bro. Nah.
However, today, the same can't be said. It's not breaking news, but fast food is rarely fast anymore. It's becoming pretty expensive for what the quality is. Now, over the last 2 decades, rising costs have hit the industry hard.
Bullshit.
Real estate prices, minimum wage increases, and supply chain inefficiency.
Bullshit. Not in Texas. There's no minimum wage increase. It's still $7.
Started driving up costs. Add to that the increase in costs of beef, chicken, potatoes, along with paper products, and suddenly the simple cheap burger wasn't so cheap to make anymore.
Fake.
These changes laid the groundwork for the price hikes that we're seeing today, but they only tell part of the story. What's happening now feels different, like something has fundamentally shifted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Could you put her on, please?
Dude, this is a Wendy's restaurant.
Damn it, Kevin. Okay.
But I have to keep it real. It's not just the rise in costs that are part of doing business. It's also factors like increases to advertising spend, ballooning executive compensation packages, along with significant investments into technology.
Wait, and he can work remotely. So this guy doesn't even have to show up and he gets $113 million? And this isn't... Oh, it's Starbucks. Yeah, of course. They probably sold, what 50 drinks to make that much money? They need to have... See, Trump needs to get me to be like the fast food czar. Like, I'll sort this out so fast. Like, what I would do is I would go to every fast food restaurant and I would order the food and I would compare it to the photos. And if it's not the same, they get sued for false advertising and somebody from the company has to go to jail. They get to decide who it is. If they want to have the janitor go to jail, that's fine. But they got, so actually we'll do it random. Everybody gets to draw straws and the person that gets the short straw goes to jail. That's right. That way it's fair. And with all the executive leadership, because we don't know exactly, random board member. We don't know exactly whose fault it is, so we're just going to have to guess. It's equality. Yeah, that's fair. And so that would be a good start.
Compensation packages, along with significant investments into technology, like mobile apps for these companies. Oh, and of course, stock buybacks, returning billions of dollars to shareholders. But don't just take my word for it. Let's look at some of the numbers. According to the Federal Reserve's economic data, food away from home, which is the category that includes fast food, this rose roughly 28.5% over the last 5 years. But general overall inflation rose only 24%.
That's the thing is, after COVID, this is what happened. COVID gave them an excuse to raise prices massively, and then they never went down. That's what happened with all these fast food restaurants.
Now, at a first glance, these price hikes might seem like a logical reaction to the rising costs of inflation. But let's dig a bit deeper. While the cost of doing business has increased, profit margins at many major chains have held steady or even grown. Take McDonald's, for instance. Despite facing higher expenses, their operating margins climbed to nearly 46% in 2020.
That's insane.
Up from around 41% in 2019. Now, that's not just covering costs, that's thriving. And if you don't think operating margin is the best indicator to decide this, let's look at their net profit margin.
Look at this.
It's gone up from 28% right before the pandemic hit.
28? That's disgusting. Look at this.
Way up to over 33%.
Don't. It's not because of the war in Ukraine or Gaza that fucking Taco Bell got rid of 5-layer nachos. It's nothing to fucking do with it. Don't blame Ukraine on this.
2024. Now, this has led McDonald's to begin to take some drastic measures to try to convince customers they not only aren't being greedy, but also that they still can provide value with their menu.
Bullshit.
But more on that in a moment. This pattern isn't unique to McDonald's, though. Chipotle has reported record revenues fueled by menu price increases of nearly...
Chipotle is really good. Chipotle's fine. There's nothing... Chipotle doesn't do anything wrong. But actually, that's not true. They need to have better meat quality. But other than that, Chipotle's great. Big fan of Chipotle. Chipotle all the time. It's the other... Well, yeah, people get E. coli and they get sick. But that's... Right?
15% over the last 2 years. In fact, during the making of this video, they just announced another 2% price increase to their menu, which brings the total number of price hikes to 7 times since 2021. And Chipotle technically isn't fast food and is more in the category of fast casual dining, but they still are a part of that food away from home stat that I provided from the Federal Reserve.
It's different.
And so we can still learn a lot about their recent financial performance over the years. Chipotle's net margin is higher now than ever before.
And you compared this to McDonald's. McDonald's was more than twice as much as this. See this? They're at 10%. This is a lot of companies have between like an 8 and 12% operational margin. This is normal. But it's McDonald's that's the bad one. 10% is fair. Yeah, they're making 10%. That's nothing.
Has been steadily climbing since the pandemic.
Hardly.
However, the margins did tank before the pandemic due to foodborne illness issues the company was facing.
It's fake.
But if we also look at their revenue and net income, that has also been rising steadily since the last quarter of 2020. And here's the kicker. Chipotle's former CEO, Brian Niccol, earned over 17...
That's not fair, though, because no. Chipotle, it's different. So with Chipotle, they're still growing as a business and they're opening more new stores. So their operating income is going to go up because they have more places to grow because they haven't hit a market cap yet. Whereas McDonald's hit a market cap 50 fucking years ago. So there's a total, like, you can't look at total net revenue. You have to look at what the operating margin is. Because if you're making 150 million versus 50 million at the same net revenue, that's the real fucking conversation. $20 million. That's not even that. No. I'm not sponsored by Chipotle. Like, I'm not. I eat Chipotle at least 3 times a week. And I don't want to hear this. This is bullshit. It's McDonald's and Taco Bell that are wrong. Chipotle's fine.
Million in 2022 and over
No, I don't have
22
stock
million
in
in 2023, including significant bonuses tied to the company's profitability. This is over 1,300 times the median pay of a Chipotle worker. Now, whether you think the CEO is worth 1,300 times the average worker or not, it's clear that they are making more money now than ever before.
They are.
And Chipotle also just announced in July that they were authorizing a $400 million stock buyback program.
Wow.
Essentially funneling excess cash back to shareholders instead of, I don't know, reinvesting it into operations or finding out ways to keep prices stable. Additionally, Yum Brands, which owns Taco Bell,
this is
KFC and Pizza Hut, instituted price hikes in 2023 and cited that it was a last resort option.
bullshit. You've been doing that for years.
Later
They're
that
lying.
year, clocking in a 21% increase in total revenue.
Look at this.
Over its
Look at
pre-pandemic
this. This is
earnings.
insane.
Now, since then, executives at the company have authorized a $2 billion share repurchase program, returning $678 million to its shareholders. Now, there's no secret here that greater amounts of capital are being redirected to corporate level costs, such as C-level executive compensation. Now, critics argue that inflation has become a convenient excuse for these price hikes.
True.
Yes, labor and ingredient costs are up, but why are executive salaries soaring at the same time? Why are companies...
Because they're soaring with the price of the company, because their salary is part of the equity that they're given in the company. And that's the compensation package. They're not paying the guy a big bag of $200 or $20 million. They're paying him with a stock package. That's the reason why he's getting a lot of money.
He's increasing ad budgets and launching multi-million-dollar stock buybacks while
It's
citing
totally different.
higher costs as the reason for passing price increases onto consumers. Now, in some cases, the numbers suggest these companies are taking advantage of inflationary pressures to pad their profits.
100%.
In fact, a recent analysis
Especially
from the
McDonald's.
Economic Policy Institute found that corporate profits accounted for over 40% of price increases across several industries during the pandemic recovery period. Now, while fast food isn't singled out in this analysis, it does seem to fit into this broader.
Think about it's going to be the worst one. So it's more than 40%. Because if you're looking at all of the different food, and then fast food is the worst offender, then you would have to logically assume, and that the other prices, like Applebee's hasn't gone up that much. Chili's somehow is fucking cheaper. So it's actually, fast food is probably 60 or 70%.
Trend. This narrative has led to a huge disconnect from corporations to their consumers, particularly around their pricing and the value propositions they offer.
True.
But the interesting thing here is some of these companies are faring much better than others. Chipotle, for example, is continuing to grow in spite of their price hikes.
Because they haven't reached market saturation for having enough stores in an entire nation. They're not worldwide like McDonald's. So in 20 years, 30 years, Chipotle is going to have the same problem. They're growing because they're a new company and they have room to grow. But McDonald's and Taco Bell doesn't have that same room because they've already had a hegemony over fast food for 50 years. It's totally different. Easy excuse. No. It's a fact. This is a fact. You're defending this bullshit? No. What do you mean I'm defending this bullshit? Their profit margins are at like 10 to 15%. McDonald's is at 30. So how the fuck am I defending it? No, this is, they're growing. How many stores, look. There's 3,000 Chipotle. There's 13,000 McDonald's. You see that? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I mean. Bro really likes Chipotle. I'm not a Chipotle stockholder. This is an objective fact that their net revenue is going to go up because their business is still in the phase of growth and the product is good that people are buying it. I'm not a stockholder. I eat there all the time. I know this.
So historically haven't offered any sort of value meal. While restaurants like McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Taco Bell, and others are all trying to entice customers by trying to add more value deals.
They're
to their
lying.
menu.
They're not value. See, it used to be the dollar menu, and then it was the value menu, and then they got rid of it.
But of course, fast food chains have their side of the story too. They argue that
their side, which is lying and wasting people's fucking money, and then advertising products that you look at the Taco Bell drive-thru, and it looks one way. You get the product, it's not the same thing.
these price hikes are a necessity, not some evil choice. And their executives have pointed to some real pressures.
They're using AI at the drive-thru at Taco Bell now. They keep getting my order right. This used to never happen. Never. They would never get my order right. Now they always get it right. It's AI. Guaranteed.
Rising wages, volatile supply chains, and of course inflation as reasons why fast food just isn't as cheap as it used to be. Now, back in May of 2024, social media posts about an $18 Big Mac meal went so viral that McDonald's actually had to begin a campaign trying to debunk some of the myths that were being spread about
oh yeah, you're going to debunk your own menu.
The prices. Remember this graph from earlier? Yeah, well, McDonald's disagrees with a lot of it.
I bet they do 40, you said 46% profit margin? What a joke.
What's behind this is that while data on its own is rather objective, the way in which data can be presented often is very subjective.
That's true.
Including this video here.
Great point.
However, in their blog post, McDonald's cited bits of information from the article labeling them as myths.
Was this,
in their blog post, McDonald's cited...
McDonald's raised prices. False. McDonald's overall 5-year increases are closely connected to the increase of to-run restaurants, which have gone up. No, that's not true, because then the other restaurants haven't gone up that much. That's fake. McDonald's raised prices so much that every menu prices increased more than 3 times. Well, this is, see, they're just trying, this is, okay, so look at this. They're just trying to fit, this is like, you know, you need to write a 500-word essay, so like you're just writing bullshit. This is the same question. McDonald's price increases are the result of greed and price gouging. Restaurant margins are largely the same as they were in 2019. What about 2015, though? What about that, 2019? So yeah, interesting you use the frame of reference right before you pumped up all the prices. So you go and you say that they're moving the goalpost. So no, look at it. See, it was down here. This is an operating margin. This means if they make $1, they're getting 30 cents back on that fucking dollar. This is insane. 10 years ago, shit changes. It's a percentage. This is different. They're lying. McDonald's Big Mac meal has increased in price. See, this is what they're doing. They're using 2019 as a reference point because that's when they began doing this. But if they had to use 2018 or 17, all of these myths would have been reality. That's what they're doing. Come on, man. You think chat doesn't know percentages? Yes.
McDonald's cited bits of information from the article labeling them.
10-piece McNuggets meal has increased in price by 95.5%. Just no, but it's increased by like 50%. Everything is based off of 2019 because that's when they started doing this.
As myths, like, quote, McDonald's raised prices at a rate nearly double the national rate of inflation. And over in their fact, that over the last 5 years, prices have increased around 40% due to higher input costs such as salaries, food, and paper products. And while that may be very well true, the article cites McDonald's menu prices have doubled 100% since 2014 across popular items, the highest of any chain we analyzed. But okay, let's just assume McDonald's was confused on this.
No, they're selectively using data that is deliberate misrepresentation.
And they cited from 2019 on as opposed to what the article says, which is 2014. So what about another myth? Well, once again, McDonald's cites the article quoting, McDonald's medium fries have increased by 138% since 2019. But McDonald's claims the truth is the average price of a medium fry in 2019 was $2.29, and now in 2024, the average price is $3.29. Okay, well, the article actually says that the 138% increase is from 2014 to 20.
See, I fucking knew it. I knew they were lying. See, this is it. See, they're using 2019 as a frame of reference because in 2014 it was way less. This is it. See, they're looking. They're a private company. They can do what they want. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. Okay, to be fair, I do actually have 2 McDonald's drinks within arm's reach of me. So I was going to say that I have, but I actually haven't. I still go to McDonald's. But why are you defending this bullshit? This is ridiculous. Do we need to go back to the fucking operating margin again about this? Was it 46% operating margin? I'm pretty sure the fucking cartels are lower than that. You have a worse operating margin selling cocaine. This is insane. Stop being a dick eater.
2024, not 2019. Now, I could go on.
And a McFlurry, see, a McFlurry, whenever they came out, it was like